Pradam, thank you. I think I should get an award right now. By the way, Pradam, whoever who take you about my time, I think he can apply for a job in Miami Herald in the city before. I'm honored to introduce a person who hardly needs an introduction. He is a president and publisher of Miami Herald Media Company. Most of you already know more about him by looking at the program book, but let me share my personal experiences with him. During the time of his predecessor, Mr. David Lawrence Jr., I approached Miami Herald at that time to publish Muslim Holiday Eid Mubarak. Unfortunately, we didn't get a response from the editor at that time, so I wrote an email to Mr. David Lawrence Jr. personally. Within 20 minutes, I got an email back from him, and it was copied to Ray Olmsted to have a meeting with us. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. And from that point onwards, we worked towards publishing Happy Eid on the mast, just like that we're doing for Jewish and Christian community. There were some obstacles in between, but during the tenure of Mr. Tom Fiedler, that dream came true, and Miami did win the hearts and minds of the Muslim community by putting that one. After that one, under the leadership of David Landsberg, I have been careful between David Lawrence and David Landsberg here, who was a publisher. One is publisher, one was a publisher. During David Landsberg time, we moved further and started doing a blessed Ramadan. We did a lot of Ramadan stories, Muslim stories, and really took a step further. On many occasions, I have argued. Believe me, I have argued through the email and through them with David Landsberg, with Miriam Marquez, and John Yerwin. Mindy is still safe. And Miami leadership, but to their credit, they understood that I'm asking for them to understand the Muslim sensitivity, and they responded in the best manner possible. He made himself and other people from the Miami management team available to us and response as well. Open and accessible media are a confidence builder in an open and democratic society. He and his team of the management team of the Miami Herald and the reporter has done so with us to make us believe in the system. And let me also do a plug in here that their various reporter is Javed Karim, who is from Pakistan, whose parents are from Pakistan, and he is doing fantastic with not only Muslim stories but other religious stories. And last I spoke to somebody, they told me that he is an asset to the Miami Herald Media Company. It is my honor and great pleasure to invite David Landsberg to accept our token of appreciation on behalf of the Coalition of Supply Muslim Organization.
Thank you, Shabir and Cosmos. It is truly an honor for me to stand before you today and accept this award, this recognition that you've given me. It's particularly gratifying, in fact, to be honored for something that is so fundamental to the mission of the Miami Herald Media Company. Here with us tonight, as you heard, is John Yearwood and Mindy Marquez and Miriam Marquez, no relation, only the S and one was we found that out in cocktail time. I thought I'd begin tonight by telling you a little bit about me and my orientation so you understand me better, and a little bit about the Miami Herald Media Company and see where those two things have intersected and how it intersects with you all. I am a native Miamian, and in fact born at Baptist Hospital shortly after it opened. And I will tell you that makes me somewhat of a minority here in this community. In fact, 62% of Miamians were foreign born. I graduated from Coral Gables High School, and I went to the University of Florida for an undergrad and graduated with an MBA from the University of Miami. So Gator and Cane, there is more diversity. In my little multicultural piece of the world, I'm married to a Cuban woman, and I have 3 daughters who speak Spanish fluently. One of them can speak Hebrew. That is certainly not incredibly unique in Miami, but it is certainly part of the fabric that makes up this place. I've spent my entire professional life at the Miami Herald, and I've watched this community as it has absorbed a vast array of people from all over the world. Some have come in waves, like Cubans and Nicaraguans and Venezuelans and Argentines came many at one time. Others came southward in migrations from the northeast of the United States, and yet others came in slower, more steady streams from Russia, India, Middle East, and points beyond. In the year I was born, Miami was a town. Less than 500,000 people, 5% of whom were Hispanic. My has this place changed in that period of time. And all of that diversity is really a wonderful thing. It's one of our greatest strengths as a community and as a global center for business and for tourism. Not surprisingly, it has had a huge impact on how we run our business as a media company as we attempt to cover the region and the world in our newspapers and websites. Our news products have the largest local reach of any media in South Florida. You may not know this, but in a week's time there are 1.4 million people who continue to consume just the print in English and Spanish. And that means that our readers are from every corner of the world. And so we believe it's absolutely essential that we find a way to reflect their lives and reflect the lives of these diverse groups of people in our news coverage. And we strive to also provide a forum on our opinion pages where different voices and perspectives can be aired. Of course, we aim every day for fairness and balance in all of this. Still, it's inevitable that we'll publish stories and some points of view that provoke vigorous debate and disagreement in various segments of the community. And that's why we actively encourage a dialogue with individuals and groups who have feedback about our coverage. We look for ways to engage them, and in our news gathering, we look for them to be sources. And we look for guest writers on our opinion pages, and we look for contributors to our event listings. So just about everything we do. Fairness and balance doesn't get achieved by chance. It takes focus and effort. In a controversial story, fairness and balance means quoting all representatives from all of the parties affected by an issue. It also means speaking out specifically with our editorial voice against hate and disrespect. You'll remember with dismay, I'm sure, the story that we wrote about a Gainesville pastor who wanted to commemorate 9/11 by setting fire to the Koran. That story ran on our front page, and to the dismay of some readers who might have taken issue with it. And at the same time, you'll recall, we published an editorial that called that the worst idea yet of anti-Muslim bigotry. And our Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist, I believe that same week, Leonard Pitts, wrote a column expressing a similar opinion. Fairness and balance is an impression that forms over a period of time and over multiple stories. It means that we want to reflect the many facets of a group or community and not just the things that are controversial. Recently, you may have seen an international brief in the Miami Herald about a Muslim delegation visiting Auschwitz to pay tribute to victims of the Holocaust and to make a statement against anti-Semitism in Europe. Or many of you may have seen an article by our religion beat writer, who was just mentioned, Jawid Kaleem, about the Islamic Society of North America holding a regional conference of scholars, students, and families in Fort Lauderdale. One of the greatest values of interaction with you is that it helps us be more aware of the full range of issues and events, again, not just the controversial ones, but the full range of issues and events that impact your community. Your feedback helps us deepen our knowledge of your history, your culture, your values, and it supports our efforts to provide critically important context to all of our readers. I also want to mention that in the past 12 months, we've created new ways for you and other members of South Florida community to interact with us, and I want to tell you about one of those. We're running a rather large project called the Public Insight Journalism Project, which is a database of diverse sources for our news stories. And if you're interested in sharing your expertise with us as a source, we'd ask that you go visit the website to do that on, and it is www.miamiherald.com/insight, and help us with the best information we can get for reporting. All of this will help us be a better news organization, and I can tell you that we remain committed to be the most credible and dynamic source of information for our community. In honoring me tonight, you have validated that mission, and in a unique, meaningful way to boot. Once again, thank you so much, Cosmos, and thank you, Shabir, for the wonderful welcome.